Okay, I don't have a presentation, and I'm going to make it quick. So I'm going to talk. So first, One Pulse. So it's a reporting solution for wineries that are using Commerce7, and so the topic that you asked me to talk about is webhook versus using the API. And so while it's a technical conversation, like any technical problem we're trying to solve, it all comes to which problem are we trying to solve? Or if you're wondering now, should I use the webhook or should I use the API? Which problem are you trying to solve? And so let me give you an example. So some of our analytics reports, wineries can see a heat map of the US, they can drill down to specific region, they can drill down to see their list of customer information and specific customer metrics. That's not something the customer information doesn't have to be real time. If it is, as of last night midnight, it's very acceptable in terms of reporting. So that's downloading here, in this case, customer information. It's a good candidate to use the API. You basically, when you think about the API, say, okay, I want to be able to start a process when I want, when I need, and download information. So that would be an example of using the API. Obviously, if some of you are doing data migration, it's a no-brainer. You're going to use the API. Now, a few months ago, some wineries asked me if I could, because I also do some dashboards. They say, hey, do you think you could have a live dashboard? So where we could track our sales in real time. And so I was like, I cannot do the API. I'm not going to do calls to the API every 30 seconds or every minute to refresh the data. And then that's not going to work. I have to use the webhooks. And so I've got to say that I'm using the exact same architecture than Buddy just presented. It's exactly the same thing. It's on AWS, using Lambda, using SQS, DynamoDB, and the ID came from Jason. I really, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, didn't know how to implement this thing. And I reached out to Jason. It was a freelance email, but there was everything I needed to know. And then, okay, webhooks. And so the reason to use webhooks here is that the app has to be listening. You've got to be ready to process a message or an object as soon as it arrives. And instead of you asking data to Commerce7, it's Commerce7 pushing you data, and they expect an answer right away, fast. Otherwise, the webhook is disabled. So that's this idea of when should you use an API versus when you should use webhooks. If it is real time, if it requires an interaction with Commerce7, webhooks. If you just need to download, or if you can use if you need to just download data at a specific time or upload data at a specific time, then API calls make sense. Now, I know, Andrew, you asked me, is there some ideas for improvements or new things? So that is especially true for data migration. I sometimes wish there would be a way to make a call to the API to validate that the object is valid, that the data that I'm about to upload in Commerce7 are valid. Things like checking if an address is correct. And by correct, I mean it has the right format. Checking that a wine varietal, an appellation is correct. That could be helpful because we can do data cleaning in advance before pushing the data, instead of being reactive and waiting to get a feedback saying not uploaded because it was not correct. So that's the kind of thing I had in mind. I wish also for data migration that we could, when we push the orders into Commerce7 for data migration, that we could specify club and club shipment. That would be helpful. Things like sales associate also, they have, you upload historical orders. If the sale, you want to, push a sales associate, if you just push the name, it's not going to show up in the Commerce7 reports unless you push the ID. And you don't always have the sales associate set up at the time of the data migration. So that would be some ideas. And the last thing I want to say, because it's the end and it's important to say it, is that we are all here partners with Commerce7. Number one, you're a pleasure to work with. And number two, we are making money by being partners with Commerce7. And it's important to have gratitude. And so thank you for making that possible. You make doing business with your company easy. And most of us are dealing with over vendors, and we know it's not that easy. So it's the end of this presentation, and I wanted to say thank you again for making this Commerce7 world, possible.
Well, thanks, Remy. You do have a bunch of questions in the chat, by the way. I'll let you hit those in